Tom and Jerry are about to start over.
'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah.
In the big city.
Ain't my fault that I'm out here getting loose. Gotta blame it on the good.
I'm sure you have a lot of people coming to you with ideas and projects and films. What made you want to do Tom and Jerry?
I really like the world of seeing 2D animation brought into a live action world, you know, in a Roger Rabbit way. That was something that really appealed to me. I just hadn't seen it in so long. I loved Tim Story as a director, and so I wanted to work with him. And as the cast came together, I really liked my castmates, you know, and it was you know, really fun and funny to work in scenes with Chloe and Michael Pena and Rob Delaney and Pallavi. And it was like it was a good vibe on set. And I think we found a lot of extra fun stuff. And I don't know, I really like the idea of creating this world, especially for younger people who are going to be watching the movie and families that are going to be watching the movie, where it felt like a total, you know, escape. There was a real magic to having these cartoon characters live in a hotel in New York City. And being a New Yorker, I thought that was just such a cool thing. It reminded me a little bit of Home Alone 2, you know, where Kevin's living in the plaza, and it made me as a kid excited and want to go do something like that. So I thought it had a little bit of that magic too.
How do you know, Tom and Jerry, they haven't really changed over the years. Why do you think these characters have endured? I mean, 82 or 82 years old they're going to be. Why have they endured like for so long?
I think that they feel like pretty authentic characters. You know, I think for being cartoon characters, they're deeply human. You see how genuinely frustrated and angry they get. And I think, you know, I really think it's satisfying to see how violent they are, you know, and I think because they're cartoons, they get away with it, but you can see, you know, real human frustrations acted out. And it's nice to see that when there's no consequences, you know, even in a Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote way too, you know, you love seeing how they're going to one up each other in both how they attack and how they escape an attack.
It's funny that you should mention the violence because, you know, that was one of the funny things that I thought maybe they would tone down, and they don't tone it down at all in the movie. You know, do you think kids are going to be okay seeing Tom get, you know, whooped a lot? I mean, I always remember Jerry was a lot meaner to Tom.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Jerry's smarter and is more, I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, but I think that Jerry seems smarter. And so sometimes that means meaner and are more inventive in his means of cruelty. So I think, you know, I think with cartoons, I think kids view it as true to their feelings. Like I think kids get angry and kids get frustrated and don't always know how to deal with it. And so to see a cartoon also dealing with those feelings of frustration, I think is actually a cathartic thing for kids, and actually helps kids because they're seeing that this is happening in a cartoon world, and it kind of validates their feelings that they also sometimes feel angry and don't know how to express it, even with someone who is kind of a friend in a way, like a Tom and Jerry. Even though they're enemies, they're also at the end of the day reliant on each other. And so I don't know. I think that's something that those are feelings that are probably helpful for kids to work through, and to acknowledge a kid has those feelings and to validate that they have them probably makes them feel good.
I imagine there's a lot of you get to do a lot of improv in your day job on SNL. You can kind of, you know, riff and bring things to the table. How did that translate, or how did that inform what you did here in Tom and Jerry?
It's way easier to improvise on Tom and Jerry, like when you're filming like that, because, you know, at SNL, if you improvise, it's live. So you might not even be on camera sometimes, or you know, if it's, you have to pick your moments. And obviously the show is timed, and and there's a lot of moving pieces that are not just you. Whereas when you're on film, you can kind of go wherever you want because you know you're going to be covered by cameras and you know kind of when it's your turn to have coverage. And so that's very liberating to be able to go for it on film and not worry about the consequences versus being on a live show and always being slightly terrified of what you're going to do or say, and is it going to suddenly derail the whole show?
Was acting in a movie, stepping out of your comfort zone, was that something you had kind of had on your radar for a while? You haven't done much in the way of big screen movies.
No, I mean, for sure. Part of it's just been time, because I tour a lot as a stand-up when I have time off from SNL, and that's what I've done for, the last 15 years, basically, is done stand-up. So that's taken up a lot of the time. But I really missed acting. It's what I started out doing when I was young, when I was in college. I find it really, really liberating and really exciting to do. And it's a whole other kind of work. And I like doing it more and more. So I would like to continue to do more of it. And I thought this was a good opportunity to throw myself into this role and figure it out with other actors that I really trusted.
I know you're a big Mets fan, and one of the scenes in Tom and Jerry takes place at Yankee Stadium. Did you try to sway that at all and maybe get them to change the setting for that scene?
I was making no headway with Tim Story on my Mets pushes. It's really an unfortunate thing. It's sad that a whole generation of kids now has to grow up thinking that the Yankees are associated with Tom and Jerry in any way. It's really, it's probably the great tragedy of the film.
How did they animate Tom and Jerry? I'm always really curious. You're acting on set, you're seeing these things that presumably later on, they're going to become animated characters. What did they use for you guys to work with?
It was really weird. They used a mix of like green blobs, like a green ball on a pipe or something, things like that. They sometimes had green, like a full 3D model of Tom or Jerry, but it was made of green screen material. But then other times it would just be a cardboard cutout of Tom and Jerry. And I thought, wait, is this scene going to get cut? Because they're not really using the right green screen. I was like, are they just going to cut this out later? Because it doesn't feel like they're doing it the same way. So you saw a variety of looks. And I was so impressed seeing the animation come together because there were all these, it took a while to film scenes because you're covering it. There's lots of times you're just sort of staring into a vacuum or gesturing at dead air, and you're like, you're going to put something in eventually, right? And I'm not going to look like a crazy person. So to see it all come together, you felt like, oh, I'm glad they put all that time in and thought it through because it looks great.
I know last year you were promoting your book, Punchable Face, Very Punchable Face, and you talked about maybe perhaps, leaving SNL. Where are you with that? Is that something that's still sort of you think about or that's in the cards for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I take it year by year because I don't like jumping ahead and thinking too far down the line. That's sort of never how I've operated. I like to kind of look at one project at a time and go and do it and see it through and then decide what I want to do next. I'm not a big planner. So I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I like doing things like this and I would like to do more of them. And I guess we'll sort of see where that goes. Right now it feels like such a limbo year. Now probably going to be a year and a half total with SNL stuff that it's kind of hard to decide because it's so not like the usual show and it doesn't feel like a normal year in any way. And when you think about how many episodes or years I have left at the show, it almost doesn't feel like it counts. If that makes sense. But I don't know, honestly, right now, everything feels like survival. So you're kind of trying to get through the end of this before you can make decisions really about anything in your life.